What is going on, guys? In this video, we are building out something so freaking cool. It is a voice AI agent receptionist that is going to answer all of your incoming calls. It's going to be able to answer any questions your clients have. It's going to be able to book or cancel or update appointments on your calendar in real time, as well as send off invoices. Now, we are building this using Vapi. All of the blueprints for this are going to be down below in the description of this video, completely 100% for free if you guys choose to download it. And before we dive into actually building it out, let's go ahead and let's test this AI assistant out right now.
Thank you for calling Smart Pulse Agency. This is Elliot, your scheduling assistant. How may I help you today?
Hey Elliot, I came across your website. I saw that you guys offer AI services. I'm interested in what you guys have to offer. Do you mind just telling me a bit about the AI services that you actually provide?
Absolutely. At Smart Pulse, we specialize in AI-driven solutions that enhance business operations, improve efficiency, and drive innovation. Our services include intelligent scheduling, automated invoicing, and data analytics designed to streamline processes and maximize productivity. If you have a specific area in mind, I'd be happy to provide more details.
Cool. Yeah, I'm really interested. Do you mind sending over an invoice for your services?
Of course, I can help with that. Could you please provide me with your full name and email address?
Yeah.
I'll send the invoice right away.
Of course. My name is John, and my email address is jccatliff@gmail.com.
Just to confirm, your email is jccatliff@gmail.com. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep.
This will just take a sec.
No problem.
I sent the invoice to your email.
Okay.
I successfully sent the invoice to your...
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I actually just received it here. Thanks for sending that over. Cool.
You're welcome, John.
Yeah, I just had one more question here, Elliot. Do you mind if I schedule a call with your team tomorrow to kind of go over this invoice and just talk about the services that you offer?
I'd be happy to help you schedule that call. What time tomorrow works best for you? And could you please provide your email address again?
Of course, yeah. I was thinking maybe like, I don't know, like 11 a.m. Does that work for your team? And my email address is jccatliff@gmail.com.
Just to confirm, your email is jccatliff@gmail.com. Is that correct?
That is
correct. Let me check the availability for...
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Hold on a sec. Sorry, a few more seconds.
Okay.
Good news. The slot is available for tomorrow at 11 a.m. Would you like me to go ahead and book that for you?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Great. I'll need to confirm your full name one more time along with your email address. Could you please provide that?
Yeah, so again, it's John for my name, and my email address again is jccatliff@gmail.com.
Just to confirm, your name is John and your email is jccatliff@gmail.com. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep.
Hold on a sec. You're all set, John. Your appointment for a consultation is booked for tomorrow, May 14th, 2025 at 11 a.m. Keep an eye on your inbox for the confirmation. If there's anything else you need, just let me know.
Awesome. Thanks, Elliot. I got to run. I got the invite. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to your team tomorrow.
You're very welcome, John. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye. And so that's essentially it. I think that's freaking cool. Obviously, it's not like 100% perfect. It is a bit clunky. I think that most of that probably has to do with the system prompt here. I think that like a lot of these kinks can be ironed out. Like for instance, maybe not asking to repeat my email 3 times on the same call. But overall, I think that this technology has come such a far way. Now, just keeping in mind, I just want to kind of put this out there. Obviously, you're doing AI calling. There is a lot of compliance regarding this. And so usually you have to like ask for consent in most jurisdictions when you're actually doing AI calling. So just kind of keep that in mind. But yeah, it's not perfect. However, this technology is in its infancy. There's so much room for growth. And I just think this is freaking cool, especially when you start adding in all these additional tools, like for instance, a calendar widget here that allows you to book appointments, or like sending off invoices automatically. Now, again, these blueprints are going to be 100% for free down below in the description for you guys to go and download. With that being said, let's kind of dive into building this out. Just before we do, as always, guys, if you're interested in taking AI automation to the next level, I highly recommend taking a look at my school community over here, where there's 2 main transformations that I want people to have here. Number 1 is helping people automate up to 80% of their business. I just give away the blueprints that allowed me to scale to 7 figures and essentially replace myself from a job managing my entire business. And the second group of people is for those looking to create an AI automation agency, where I give you a proven roadmap to help you find and close deals. With that being said, let's dive into this right now. The first thing that we're going to do is head over to Vapi, where we need to sign up for a free account. Now, once inside, essentially there's a couple things that we need to do here. Number 1 is we need to create an assistant, and number 2 is we need to create 2 tools. Now, you can think about this like an agentic workflow inside n8n here, where you have an assistant and you're giving it tools to utilize, like Google Calendar. Like in this instance, we're saying, hey, you could find appointments, you could book appointments, you could update appointments or delete appointments. Very similarly, we have this assistant that we're building here called Elliot, and we're giving him 2 tools. And these tools are the ability to schedule appointments and also to send off invoices, in both of which are inside n8n. And we're doing this in real time on these calls with clients. So let's go ahead, let's get this started. First things first, we're gonna wanna get a phone number inside of Vapi. Now, you can start out with a phone number here, but what I think is probably a better use case is to actually just go ahead and sign up for a free Twilio account and get a phone number there. And so what I would recommend doing here is heading over to the website twilio.com, starting for free. And it's just gonna ask you to onboard, ask a couple questions. It'll probably ask you to confirm your email, all that kind of stuff. And you'll land on the console page here. So as soon as you get inside Twilio, this should be the first page that you land on. And all you want to do is copy your phone number from Twilio right down here. And we're going to put that into Vapi here. So we can create a phone number inside Vapi, and this is going to be imported from Twilio. We're just going to put in our phone number. I'm going to drag this over. We'll put in our phone number, account SID, and auth token, and then we're good. That's it. Once we do that, we'll have a free Twilio phone number ready to go in a matter of a couple minutes inside Vapi. And once we have that, it's just going to be a lot easier to be able to make these calls. The next thing that I want to do after creating this phone number inside Vapi is to head over to the assistant tab here. And we'll go ahead and we're going to create an assistant. You can think about this like your voice AI assistant that's going to be taking the phone calls, routing the traffic, such as, you know, sending them invoices or booking appointments or handling frequently asked questions, all that kind of stuff. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create an assistant, and I just called mine Elliot, but you can call your assistant whatever it is you want. And we're going to go ahead and create down here, and we are good to go. Once we have this assistant in here, we are going to want to generate a system prompt and a first message. Now, the first message is the message that the AI agent is, or the voice AI will say as soon as they pick up the phone. So if you want this to be like a receptionist, they should be like, hey, you know, welcome to ABC company. My name is Elliot. How can I help you today? That kind of stuff is the first message, which goes right here. And then afterwards, we have this system prompt. And this prompt here is essentially providing it all the context and information that Elliot, our voice AI agent, needs in order to succeed. So we can kind of go through just the call notes here. But again, this will be provided for free in the description for you guys to go ahead and download. You can play around with it, make sure you're happy with this, and adjust it to your use case scenario. But essentially we have responsibilities. So we're kind of going through and saying, look, these are the tasks that you're going to encounter on these calls, and this is how you can handle those tasks. So we have appointment management. So this AI agent is going to have the ability to manage our appointments inside n8n. So we can get appointments, book appointments, update, cancel, all of that kind of good stuff. Okay. And then we can also answer frequently asked questions. And so what we're doing here is we have this PDF file, and this will also be in the description as well for you guys to download. So this is kind of what it looks like here. It's like, what does Smart Pulse do? And I just came up with this name here, but Smart Pulse is essentially an AI automation agency, blah, 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 blah. And we just go through tons of different questions here so that it knows a lot about our company. And that way, when people ask these questions, it has the exact answers ready to go at its fingertips to answer any person that is talking to. So that's the first thing about the frequently asked questions here. Then afterwards, we have this invoice handling where we can essentially send clients invoices. We can forward calls as well. So let's say somebody asks, hey, can I speak to a human? Or hey, can I, speak to another person on the team? We can pass off that call to somebody else in the team so that all of a sudden the AI receptionist can now all of a sudden connect to that client into you as the individual. Past that, we have instructions over here, just kind of talking about, how to actually go about handling these tools. One of the big things is that when we're dealing with scheduling calendar appointments over here, one of the things is that we have to make sure that we actually know what we're doing. Are we creating, updating, and deleting? So that's why we have this helper agents. And we'll go into more detail about this later on, but we have to categorize on this call what exactly the user is looking, or the customer is looking to do. They're looking to create an appointment, delete, update, search, all that kind of stuff. And so this kind of just lays out how to handle this. And again, this will all be in the system prompt that I provide over to you guys for free. So you can take a look at that. And then apart from that, we have just ways to end the call, any specifics on dealing with like dates and dealing with emails and all of that kind of stuff. And then we have a conversation style. So like, how do we want Elliot or voice AI agent to be able to communicate with people? How is their tone? How do they, all of that kind of stuff is important to outline here because this is going to represent your brand. Also, we have example conversations down below here and so on and so forth. So we can give it some context as to how a normal conversation would end up. So with that being said, this does a really good job at guiding the AI agent through the conversation. I just want to preface too as well that voice AI is in its infancy. It's not 100% perfect. There will be mistakes 100%. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to kind of put that out there and use your discretion if you guys do want to use this kind of technology. Obviously, the pros of this are that it's infinitely scalable. You don't have to train team members all the time to answer, and it's very cheap. And then the cons are that, well, it's voice AI and it could lower the trust in the users, in your customers' eyes and all that kind of stuff. And so just use it with caution if you guys do decide to use this. And I just wanted to kind of throw that disclaimer out there. And so we have our system prompt here. We have a model, which is the specific model that we're using in order to process information, which I put 4.0 mini. And I think that this works pretty well. I mean, you guys can use whatever it is you want. Another one could be 4.1 mini as well. This is another really good option here. Moving past this, I did put 1,000 tokens here just so that the context window is a bit larger so that we don't encounter any errors with too much information being processed at the same time. And then the temperature, I also put a bit up at 0.7 here too. Past that, essentially what I want to talk about, which is the main things that are going on here, because up until this point in time, this is pretty standard stuff in terms of Vapi. What I really want to focus most of the time on in this video is how we connect Vapi into n8n and give it all of this extended functionality so that our voice AI agent like Elliot can actually access so many additional tools while on a live call with a customer, like, for example, booking appointments. And so how this happens is by leveraging tools down here. And so in the tools section, we've created two tools. One is to handle the invoices and one is to handle the scheduling. So let's take a look at the invoice first. So in order to actually create this, you'll have to create a tool and it'll be a function, okay? And this is more or less it. I'm just going to actually delete this function tool here just because I'm just going to kind of showcase what it is that I've done. So inside the Smart Invoice, and again, all of this will be down below for free for you guys to download, but we have a tool name here and a description just describing exactly what this does. But in a nutshell, it's sending off invoices to customers. And so past that, we need to define parameters because these are going to be the parameters passed from Vapi into n8n. And so more or less in a nutshell, what are we receiving in this webhook here is going to be these parameters right here. So whatever we define here is again what we're going to be receiving in this webhook. That's the data we have to process whatever we need to process inside n8n before returning back to Vapi. So with that being said, we're passing in the name and email of the user. And past that, we need to actually direct where to send this data to. And that is in the server settings. We have this URL here. And this URL is the webhook here. So I turned it to production mode here, and I passed this URL straight into Vapi over here. And so that is allowing it to communicate back and forth with n8n, or sorry, it's allowing data to send over into n8n. And so past this, just make sure that when you guys are testing this out, you'll want to make sure that this is set to active, because if it's not set to active, well, it's not going to work, unfortunately. And so with this webhook, just make sure it's in production mode, set to active, and then you're going to be good to go. Now, past that, once we actually receive data from Vapi here, there's a couple things going on. This HTTP request is what's actually generating this invoice. And I just use Go High Level for my invoice generator. And so this is kind of what it looks like in a nutshell. We just receive data in and we create an agreement. And I'm not going to go too far into Go High Level just because that's kind of outside the scope of this particular video, because it's a totally different software and I don't want to kind of jump into multiple different directions. But yeah, pretty straightforward setup here. This just essentially sends off an invoice and you could create invoices in like one click of a button inside Go High Level. This is a $97 a month software. In my community, I do give this away for $1 a month. So if you guys want to save $96 a month on Go High Level, you can join my community and you'll get a free account as well. Moving on, essentially we have this respond to webhook. And so what's going on here is that in real time, we'll receive this request from Vapi. So as you saw in the example, the voice AI agent Elliot will be like, hey, we'll send over the invoice, just give me a sec to process it. And as he's saying, hey, give me a sec, it's sending the data here, it's processing it through Go High Level, and then it's sending the response back inside Vapi so that we now know, or the AI voice agent knows that it's been sent successfully. And so we're just responding back to the webhook saying, hey, this was either a success or this was a failure and we have to do something about it. And so, like, for example, if it was an error, the voice AI agent would be like, hey, unfortunately, I wasn't able to send it. I was having some difficulties, but I can forward you over to somebody else. Or you can have an error handler in there to like have a fallback value in case things don't go according to plan, because, well, there's always going to be mistakes. There's always going to be things that fail. So having, this is like a great way to program it, right? And then the AI agent will respond, or the voice agent will respond accordingly. But essentially, we're just sending a response back to Vapi, just telling it, hey, in most instances, this has been a success. It's been sent off. We have received the invoice has been sent over to the client, and now they can go ahead and pay and sign. And this is kind of what they receive in their inbox. Awesome. Now that is the first flow. And then the second flow that we built out here was this smart scheduler. And this is a bit more complicated, but let's kind of go through this together. The capabilities of this, and just actually before I dive into the capabilities of this, I think it's important to point out in the assistant message or section here in Elliot, we are actually giving tools, available tools here. So we have Smart Invoice, Smart Scheduler, so that it has access to these tools. And so that on a call, it can actually go ahead and process these duties. If you don't do this, it's not going to work. And yeah, I spent like 10 minutes trying to figure out when I was setting this up for the first time, like, why isn't it working? And I realized at the end, yeah, like the tools aren't working. Cool. And so just circling back, I just wanted to point that out here. When it comes to the Smart Scheduler, we have a couple different things that we're able to do. First of all, we're able to book appointments, check availability, cancel appointments, as well as update appointments. So just kind of like all the processes around appointment setting. And yeah, more or less in a nutshell, this is the data that we're sending into n8n. We're giving it all of the information that it needs. And so again, inside Vapi, it's kind of determining, hey, we have to categorize what the user or what the customer wants. Did they want to book an appointment? Did they want to check availability? Did they want to cancel? Did they want to update? So we need to intelligently determine that and then send that into n8n to process. Apart from that, we need basic information like the name and the email and the day and the time and the original day and time if we happen to update to a new day and time and all of that kind of stuff. Right. And more or less all of this information here is going to be passed through to the n8n environment here as parameters. So everything that we're writing here actually has to be defined down here. And again, I will pass this into the free blueprint that I pass over here. But for example, we're just saying day, and then we're defining what it is based on a description, which is the day requested for the new appointment, so on and so forth, all the way down. You can see category here. This is the type of action requested, and we're just defining exactly what it is that Vapi is supposed to be sending over to n8n. And so inside n8n, we're receiving this information, right? Specifically, again, we're receiving all of these properties right here. And then now that we have these properties, we're able to pass that into a helper agent. And so with this helper agent, this is doing a couple things. So if I go over to executions here, I think it's just a bit better and cleaner if I show you some of the information that's actually being passed through this. So we have this helper agent, which is more or less taking in certain information, which again is these parameters right here. And it's being passed in the format of JSON data. So if I go into where is it, the message tool calls, this is the data that's being passed in right here. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to use something called stringify, and this is like a fancy way of just saying, hey, we're switching the data type here. So right now we have this in JSON data, specifically an object. We can see that this nice little box here, this is called an object in JSON. And so this technically is a different data type than text. And we need to take this and we just need to format it as text. And that is exactly what this whole helper is doing, is it's taking an object here and then it's changing it over to text. And we know it's text because we can see these quotations on the start and the end, and everything in between that is text that we're using. And so that just means that we can format this message pretty easily. Apart from that, we're also just grabbing the category and all that kind of stuff. We can take a look at the system message here. We're doing a couple other things, like we're correcting the email, because a lot of the times, like if this is my email here that I'm using, it might be like JC, and then it might say like Catcliffe or Catley or whatever, and it seems to always screw up my name. I feel like it just like generically out of the box every single time, it just always screws up my name. And that's probably because I have like somewhat of a unique last name. There's not many Catliffes in the world, but yeah, anyways, this always screws up, and we just need to make sure that we format it properly so that it goes into the right format. And so yeah, this obviously is not going to work 100% of the time. Sometimes it's going to screw up the email, and you could work around this by, instead of like asking for the email, maybe you ask to, you know, search based on their the start day and time. But again, there's no real way of getting around the email because you still have to notify the customer based on their email if you're like inviting them, for instance, to a calendar event over here. So unfortunately, there's no real way around that. And then past that, we just want to make sure that when we're dealing with time, when we're dealing with time zones, when we're dealing with all these things, we are making sure that we're putting it in a format that works for n8n, works for Google Calendar, and we're like taking out, like, for example, if it's like, hey, I want to schedule an appointment for tomorrow at 4 p.m. Well, what is tomorrow at 4 p.m.? Well, if it's May 13th today, tomorrow would be May 14th. And so we just need to standardize the time so that we know exactly when to actually book that appointment. And so past here, we're just giving examples of what it looks like when the data comes in, what it looks like when the data comes out. We can see that we're switching tomorrow at 4 p.m. into something like this, and so on and so forth. Email like jccatcliffe@gmail.com. All this kind of stuff is being formatted again into something that's a bit more proper. And we're just defining what today actually is. And so that's the helper agent. We're just essentially taking this unstructured data and we're formatting it properly so that we can send it into this calendar agent to process that, get appointments, book appointments, update appointments, cancel appointments, all of that kind of stuff. And so let's take a look at this system message over here. So essentially, again, this is like more like a standard AI agent where we have available tools. We can book, search, cancel, update, and then we're just giving rules here. And so basically, we have this category here. Whatever the category is, like if it's check availability, then we have to use the get appointments tool. If it's new booking, then we have to use the, first of all, we have to search to find if there's any conflicts, and then proceed with the book appointment tool, and so on and so forth. So we're just essentially defining what the order of operations are here. We should probably search before creating so there's no conflicts. If we update to something new, we need to search to make sure that, okay, first of all, we find the event, then we update it, but we also update it to a time that's not conflicting, all of that kind of stuff. And so we're more or less defining it. They're giving an example of the flow over here and just giving some rules and the exact date and time and all that kind of stuff. And so more or less that's it. Then we attach in the Google Calendar nodes down here so that it can take the appropriate action in our calendar. And then we send that response back into Vapi. This is kind of what that response looks like. Hey, your appointment has been successfully completed on this day. And then the call voice AI agent will take that message and just confirm with the client in real time, hey, we've confirmed your appointment. And so all of these tools are working in real time, like while the voice AI agent is talking to that person on the phone, which is why I think it's so cool, because it's like, hey, just give me a sec. I'm going to send this invoice. The invoice is sent in like a matter of 10 seconds. Hey, I'm just going to schedule a call with you, or I'm going to check for availability. And it just gives that like real human-like feeling where somebody's actually checking their calendar to make sure that there's an appointment, and then they're creating it or whatever. And this is happening in real time on the phone, which I think is just so freaking cool. And so for that reason, I think that this is such a cool system to build out here. And yeah, I hope you guys found value in this video. If you guys like it, hopefully you can build something like this for your own company. Again, the blueprints will be down below for free. Hope you found value in it. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because I'm sure if you like content like this, you'll probably like all the other content that I'm releasing when it comes to AI and automation nearly on a daily basis. And also, If you guys want to take it to the next level, highly recommend taking a look at the school community here. This is more about like transformation. So it's all about helping you accomplish two things. If you're a business owner, how can we win back all of that time so that you can just automate most of the business operations that you have? And then number two is how, for those people that are looking to create AI automation agencies, how can you actually find clients, sell clients, and scale a business? And on top of that, you have a thriving community of people here that are commenting and engaging every single day, as well as weekly calls, 5 at the current moment in time, where you can actually just jump on and ask a question like, hey, I'm struggling to build this. Can you help me fix this problem? And a lot of the people that are in this community, they might struggle for like a day or 2 or 3 days just on a problem that we solve together in 5 minutes. And so, in terms of like the value being provided, like in that 5 minutes, we can help speed up like 5 days of work for them. And so, that's exactly what we do in this community. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, then I'd love to see you inside. Thank you guys once again for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, and bye-bye.